Morning, Nicole. Great. So I don't want to use up folks' time, but I do want, but I'm sure we'll have some more folks joining us. But I think we should just get started. We don't have a lot of folks on the line as far as sort of live participants for today, but I did have a number of people email me and let me know they would like to see the recording afterwards. So I think it might make sense to just sort of utilize this time together and use the recording to be able to send out to folks as they continue to ask. It is a very sort of tricky time right now to schedule things that'll work for folks because everyone's schedules are so different. So thank you for bearing with us in that. And thank you so much for being here today and joining us. So I really appreciate having you here and sharing your expertise or thoughts or just being here and being present to meet with some local business folks who can help out some of our small business owners right now. So I am Danny Delaney. I thought it would be a little bit easier if I didn't show you my picture today, only from a technical standpoint. I had too many things running and it was slowing stuff down. So I'm just going to sort of be a disembodied voice on the other end of the line, if that's okay with folks. If you do have any issues, you can add them to the chat box. If you sort of hover over the bottom of your screen, you'll see there's a little, for most Zoom accounts at the bottom, there's a little toolbar at the bottom. And if you hover over it, you'll see there's a place to look at the chat box and you can add in questions there. For some reason, if you're calling on the line or if for some reason you're unable to access the chat box, feel free to send me a text message. My phone number is 802-558-8608. Also included in the chat box, just as a little bit of housekeeping, is a link to the handout for folks to be able to join. For folks to see some of the things that we're referencing in today's program, and also a link to ANCA's e-commerce COVID-19 support page. So please feel free to see those two links. And if you have if you need those as a separate email afterwards, feel free to email me as well. And I can send all of that information out to you. And we'll have some folks continuing to join us, so bear with me as I'm kind of doing a little bit of that and getting everybody started this morning. So who is ANCA? ANCA is the Adirondack. Oh, okay. I guess somebody, Nicole, thank you. I have to repost that stuff because you couldn't see it from before. Hopefully you can see it now. Perfect. Great. So all of that is available. So who is ANCA? ANCA is the Adirondack North Country Association. We're a regional economic development organization spanning the 14 northernmost counties of New York, most of which covers a rural area. And we focus on growing the new economy. So we work in economic development from a number of different angles, including sort of small business support, like we're doing here, and through a number of our different programs, but also in clean energy, and we also work in agriculture and local food systems. If you have questions about our organization or would like to know more, please do let me know. And I will happy to provide that information or have a separate conversation about it. So I, in particular, am the partnership coordinator for the Center for Businesses in Transition. And we focus on transitioning retiring business owners to new ownership. We help them develop succession plans and connect with free and low-cost resources throughout the region, and talk to aspiring entrepreneurs about how they might be able to take over an existing business in the North Country. And I'll talk about why that's relevant for e-commerce. I know it seems like it doesn't quite fit in, but it's really important for the value of people's businesses to be able to stay afloat right now in the wake of COVID-19. So for those of you who maybe will be listening to this recording later on, this has been done during COVID-19 epidemic, and we are still sort of reopening in phases here in New York State. So e-commerce and e-commerce support. So because the COVID-19 had started just a couple months ago now, we heard an outcry from so many of our small businesses that one of the issues that they were having is, in order to remain solvent and keep their doors open, that they needed to come up with models and opportunities that would help them sell online, and to be able to keep cash flow. And while there are lots of opportunities for folks to get grants and funds and support, a lot of that is not coming quick enough for our small business owners throughout the North Country to be able to support them in this trying time. And also, just when it comes down to it, we need cash in the door is better than a grant or a loan or any of that sort of stuff. So the more that we can just support folks being able to look at different creative solutions to running their business during this time that are also sustainable for the long term. So something that can keep businesses afloat, but also make them stronger and more resilient, hopefully after this epidemic is sort of behind us. So we have, at the beginning of this year, we spent some time talking to Clarkson University and the Shipley Center for Innovation, and sort of quickly put together a program to pull together some funding from some private donors and some grant agencies such as the Adirondack Foundation to be able to support some troubleshooting work, some website builds, and some just general support services for folks looking for e-commerce development or help with those parts of their website. I will say through that program, we are working with about 18 businesses for troubleshooting, and we have about, I think, 8 to 9 website builds completed. I will also, just to be clear, so we only took applications for folks who were not already working with a local web developer. We really were not, it's very limited support, it's very limited support that we're offering. Just to help troubleshoot and that kind of thing. But if somebody was already working with a web developer, we encouraged them to talk to their local web developer and get back to us with a proposal that we might be able to sort of help fund at least a portion of. At this stage in the game, we are sort of running low on funds for that program right now, but that's not to say that there won't be funds available in the future, and we are looking at supporting additional projects throughout the rest of 2020 through a myriad of different levers and ideas. So again, contact me if you have any questions about some of the other support or financial support for e-commerce that we may be able to help you with through this partnership. We also wanted to ensure that we were encouraging folks to sort of click local for their web development needs. So if you are located in the Adirondack North Country and you need web development support, we really, really want to ensure that the first person that you reach out to is somebody who lives and works here, so that you are helping your neighbors. So we want to support our web developers, and that is part of why this call is happening. So just a quick agenda, I'm doing a little information right now. Then we're going to show a couple of web developer video submissions submitted from our web developers in the area. There's a playlist where they'll be available on YouTube. That's part of your handout, so you can click back to those at any time. We'll be continuing to update the link to that handout with other web developer submissions, and we will also be continuing to post additional web developers we find in the North Country and resources. So do know that that's happening and that it is not, one and done. It is something that is continually evolving and we're going to be able to keep up with. Then we will give web developers who weren't able to submit a video an opportunity to talk about what they do with their business. So you can chat with them as well, or see them and see what they do as well. Then we're going to ask our web developers to talk a little bit about, have they been getting calls from small business owners, and what have they been doing in terms of augmenting or helping with their services to make sure that it is affordable for businesses right now. Certainly, our web developers need to get paid as well and are also under financial constraints. But if there are discounts or packages or something that you're offering in this particular time, we would love to hear about those. Then we'll have a little bit of some questions. I was going to do them from the chat box, but if we don't have that many people, we can just do it. Folks can just go ahead and call out those chats when we get there. So we'll do that maybe a little more casually than I had originally anticipated, and then I'll say a few more things, and then then we'll be wrapping up. So as I said, we do have some of this e-commerce assistance information available, but one of the things they wanted to just sort of drive home is this sort of important important note that e-commerce and the ability to have sort of a website that looks new and fresh and is easily navigable. Somebody can look at it on their phone. Somebody can buy your things on their phone. If you happen to be a retiring business owner or somebody who's thinking about retiring, even somewhere in the next 3 to 5 years, this is one of those things that can make the value of your business go up, both from a financial perspective, so keeping cash flow in the door, showing that you're continuing to invest in your business, but it also makes it much more attractive to a potential buyer. There is one, folks come to us with their retiring business plans, and sometimes if those websites look really outdated, but the business model is really great, folks won't really look much further because they see what the website looks like and they're like, oh, this business must be really outdated as well. And I know that, I go to their place of business and I know for a fact they're doing well or that it's a beautiful business. But as we're talking about your business to aspiring entrepreneurs or somebody who might want to take over, it's kind of part of your sell package for how you might convince someone that this is the next step for them in their life and career. So that's kind of the tie in there. And I just wanted to sort of throw that out there as why it might be important. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to on some of these videos that are submitted from our friends, web developer friends. I should add just a few sort of disclosures. We are ANCA, the Adirondack North Country Association, is not vouching or endorsing any of these local web developers. We're not promoting one over another. If there are folks that have submitted information, we are sharing that out widely. So you as a consumer of products, a consumer who is looking to hire a web developer maybe, you need to do your due diligence to make sure that they are the right fit for you, and to have all of your questions answered. So that's a little bit of my sort of legal disclaimer there. But some of the things you might want to check with them about or do your due diligence on are making sure that they are talk to you about sort of the security of your website, if that is something that you end up engaging with them with, and also whether or not the website that they're developing for you or the website that you have now is ADA compliant. So those are some things you may want to chat with your web developer about, and I know that that most of them would be very happy to have that conversation with you. All right, so without further ado, I'll get started on some of these videos. The first one we have is with Komodo Media.
Be working directly with me. I usually Hi, I'm Tiff Amo. I'm the human behind Komodo Media. I specialize in web design, content writing for the web, and search engine optimization, which includes a little bit of social media and Google Business Management. I'm based in St. Lawrence County, but I serve clients throughout the USA. I am a solo mission, so if you choose to work with Komodo Media, you'll be working directly with me. I usually work with smaller businesses, so when it comes to e-commerce, we usually find that starting small and growing from there is the best solution. We do this using things like payment forms, payment buttons, and third-party shopping cart platforms to start out with. I prefer to work with clients who don't already have a website, or if you do, you're willing to scrap it and start fresh with me. So if that sounds like you, I look forward to chatting more.
All right, next one up
Hi, this is Doug Haney with Great Range, a marketing, communications, and graphic design firm here in Franklin County, specifically Saranac Lake, which is where I'm shooting this video right now. Our firm is pretty small. We're a boutique firm that we do a lot of work for nonprofit organizations specifically, but a lot of local businesses as well. Right across the street from me is the Village Mercantile right there. We redid their brand. We did that design of that brand and their website for them about a year and a half ago as one of our favorite projects that we've done, but we work with all sorts of organizations of all shapes and sizes. There's no one size fits all with us. We don't have templates. We work with solutions that work for you and your needs and goals. So we'd love to work with your organization as well and come up with solutions to help you with during these challenging times. Reach your customers, reach your clients, reach people with the message that you would normally do when times are well, normal, and they're not. So we want to help.
Next one up.
Hi, my name is Nicole Willette, and I run a marketing agency out of ANCA Space Potsdam, which is a co-working space in Potsdam, New York. So my approach, how I started my company 11 years ago, was someone came up to me and said, so I have a website, now what? And the parts that I mainly specialize in is the now what part, the email marketing, the social media marketing, and that sort of thing. But what I learned in the first few years of doing this is that how the website is built makes a big difference in what I can do for a client in terms of their marketing. I'm a big proponent of open source software. So using a content management system like WordPress, it means that millions of people are using it worldwide and that a client is never stuck with me. If they want to take their website and have someone else work on it, it's a code base that's known by other people and it's continuously being improved upon. The other thing I think that makes me unique is I have a bit of a teaching spirit. I thought I was going to be a high school science teacher before this whole internet thing happened to me. And I really like people to really feel empowered by the decisions they make online. And I liked showing people how to do things and making them feel really comfortable with their online property as much as they're comfortable with their offline properties in terms of their business or their nonprofit. I look forward to meeting you potentially at the upcoming meetup virtually, and I hope to talk to you soon. All right, take care.
Thank you so much, everybody, for submitting those videos. You can hear me? Thumbs up? Still? Okay. Great. So Richard Callow, would you like to take a few minutes? Are you on the line? You can unmute yourself if you are. I see some numbers that I don't know, so. Nope. Okay. So there is also a web developer. His name is Richard Callow from Neural Tornado. And he is located in the Saratoga County, and he is available as well. His information is in the handout too, if you're interested in learning about him. There's a link to a longer format handout that he put in instead of a video that you're welcome to take a look at. It's more of a narrative, so you can get to know him better as well. Right. Great. So we also had Connor. And Connor, I'm going to not do a great job at your last name, Biolosi from Coughlin Printing in Lewis County. Connor, are you on the line? You can unmute yourself if you are and take a few minutes to introduce yourself. Nope. Okay. If that changes, just send me a chat in the box and we can give you a moment to chat. Aaron Miller was not able to make it today, but his information will eventually be in the handout as well. Is there a representative from Upstated Design who would like to say a few words? Feel free to unmute yourself if you are on the line. Nope. Okay. If any of that changes, or if there's another web developer on the line who would like to talk about what they do and their work, please feel free to sort of chime in now. Now is your time. Tell us all about it. Okay. There are a few people that obviously some of the folks weren't able to sort of make it today. It's a hard time to get folks on the line. But there are some of these other folks in your handout as well. So Nick Friedman from Adirondack Website Design. He also has a website called Genuine Adirondack, where you can sell some of your Adirondack-based goods there. So something to check out there. Anne Rast of Rastworks, Jen Van Ben, again, gonna not do great with this last name, so please bear with me. Jen Van Benschoten of Magic Mama, and Pamela Orman-Sissons of eVision Digital Marketing. So there's more information about all of those in the handout, but you can check out their websites and see if any of them might be a good fit for you. Again, this list will be continually updated at adirondack.org/ecommerce support. So we're happy to have anybody who knows another web developer who should be on this list that lives in the Adirondack North Country to add their name there. We'd be delighted to add them in if they want to send in an additional video, if they want to send in more resources. We just really want to share out who's available and who's doing this really important work right now in our region. So right now we're going to sort of jump into this idea and question for our web developers. How are you addressing the financial constraints of small business owners looking for your services at this trying time? Is there anything in particular that you are doing that is different in the wake of COVID-19 that you'd like to share with folks? And I think perhaps it makes sense to sort of go in the opposite order of the videos so it doesn't look like we're singling anybody out. So Nicole, are you interested? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Nicole, if you're interested in taking yourself off mute, we would love to hear from you.
All right. Well, I have to tell you guys, I've cut my own hair, so I'm looking a little better than I did in that first video. So the main thing is, I think my main thing, if I could tell businesses to do something, is if I could do this for everybody, I would give them a payment form. So like, I think a payment form can solve a lot of problems, especially if people feel really daunted with like putting all their products online. I know that like, I talked to some of my friends who have retail stores. They're not even like clients or anything. They're just like, oh my God, putting all my product on, it feels overwhelming. And so sometimes a payment form could be, I think, a good stopgap for a lot of people. You can sell gift certificates. You can do event tickets. Not that any of us obviously are doing events at the moment, unless they're virtual. You can sell really simple products. Like my former landlord has a self-published book. It's not like she has infinite products. She just has the one book. Nonprofits can do donations. So I like to steer people toward a donation form, and depending obviously on the website, depends on what's possible. But, I've discovered kind of a good sort of third-party solution. I don't know if you guys are using this, but, people obviously have different e-commerce setups, but like JotForms has a Stripe integration. So like it's like a third-party form building software, and it integrates with this online processor, Stripe, which is good. I've been using them for like 7 or 8 years, and they're great in their customer support and everything. Also, I like that I call them, and sometimes I get somebody Irish who answers the phone because they have a headquarters in Dublin. But that's like $29 a month, and like at least it can start someone off, like they can build a form, and they could like start with something, even if their website like can't handle e-commerce. So I've been steering people toward that, especially if they're like looking for something they can sort of DIY. And I've had people email, I work ANCA space, the co-working space in Potsdam, saying, hey, can I buy gift certificates from you guys to help you out during this time? I got a couple emails when we first closed about that. So I think people are looking to do something like that and understanding they might not be spending the money with the business right now, but they're fine with sort of helping out. And I think that energy seems to be continuing. So I guess setting up a payment form, and if people have better, have good website software that can handle an actual payment form built into their actual website, I would suggest they do that. So I think that's something I've been seeing kind of a lot more kind of openness to since this whole thing started. I'm gonna stop talking now.
Thank you so much, Nicole. We appreciate your insight and you helping businesses out right now. So Doug Haney, would you like to unmute yourself and say a few words?
Sure. Hi, Danny. Thanks for hosting, and good morning, everyone. I'm Doug Haney with Great Range, based in Saranac Lake. This is a bit of an open-ended question, but I don't know that there's any one particular thing I would recommend that everybody does for your web development. Everybody's business is different. Everybody's organization is different. The only one thing I would say is that if you don't have a web presence, you should have one, and that there are solutions for every budget, every size, to make sure that you do. There are platforms to fit what you're hoping to accomplish, and it really all depends on your goals and your mission for your business or organization, to try and reach the customer base or the audience that you're trying to connect with. It's not expensive, and it doesn't have a lot of, it doesn't need millions and millions of miles of code to make it happen. But there are solutions out there for every level. And I think that's the simplest way to say is take the opportunity of this time if you're not on the web to make it happen, because there is a way for it to happen in a budget that fits your model.
And Doug, maybe you can't speak to this, but if you want to, has anybody called you, or what has your experience kind of been like in helping particular businesses in this time, or something that you feel like is important right now for your work?
Sure. Yeah. Our company is pretty broad in terms of the scope of work that we do. But during COVID, particularly right now, we've built an online business for a small photographer in the North Country for $800. And she is now selling her products online, and she's already made that money back that she's invested in her website. During this time, we've also moved events completely online that have happened for businesses who already have established websites. We've built presences for them to continue to do their work in a way. We've done the work with businesses who we built websites for before to enhance their presence. The Bookstore Plus in Lake Placid is an example. We did some minor tweaking to their digital presence to help people navigate through their online sales process. And this past April they reached their entire sales goal for online for the entire year in the month of April. So it just really depends on what is out there. But yeah, I guess the making sure that you're in a position to capitalize on the increased traffic that's online is an important one at this time. And there's a solution to do that, no matter what your size or scope is for your business.
Doug, that's great. Thank you for that sharing that with us. And I'm going to mute you now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Tiffany, do you want to share a little bit about what you're doing right now and what that looks like?
Yes. Hi. Am I live now?
Good to go.
Okay. Yeah, I think Nicole and Doug said some really great stuff that makes sense. I mean, the approach that I always take is trying to help my clients find the right solution that aligns with their budget and their goals, but then also the services that I can provide. And I think there is a solution for everyone and everyone's budget. And, sometimes people come to me and they say, well, I really want to have a shopping cart with 50 products in it, and I want a blog, and I want these 10 pages, and I only want to spend $2,000. And those two things don't really line up. But, when you use, a website or a content management system like WordPress, you can start from the ground up and really build toward that goal. So sometimes it's not achieving that goal immediately, but, taking some steps in between to help get you there. So I think, that's really where I come in, because a lot of clients come to me and they don't realize that there's so many solutions out there that are available to them. They think, well, I have to spend, $5,000 to get this awesome website. And if I can't spend that much, then I probably can't get what I need. But that's really just not the case. And there are lots of creative solutions out there to help you, get what you need and make the most of the money that you have to spend right now. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Are there any specific examples you can or want to share? It's okay if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I have some clients who have come to me and said, I really want to sell, X, Y, and Z on my website, and I'm a new business and I'm just starting. And like Nicole said, one of the first things that I offer up is, how about we start with a payment form, because it's an affordable way to do it, and we might not be able to, sell all of these products, but let's start and just see what kind of interest you're getting, you know, how many people are using the form, how many people are coming to your website to begin with. So I actually created like a starter website package for people. So it's a flat fee, and you get, you know, these 3 pages, and then we can integrate whatever you need, you know, later on. So we'll just start with the contact form, and if that's going great and you're starting to see money from it, then, you know, maybe we can start an online store for you in a few months' time. Yeah, so we've had people, you know, starting with those payment forms right off.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tiffany, and thank you for being here. I'm going to mute you now, Teal, for just a moment. And so I'm thinking maybe a better way to do the sort of chat open-ended version, given the folks that we have, is, you know, our folks who are not web developers. If you do have a question, now is the time to ask it, or a series of questions, and then we will just let our web developers that are on the call respond in order, and we'll just do this order. Ready? Doug, you'll be first because you were in the middle last time for both, and so it'll go Doug, Tiffany, and then Nicole for any responses that they might have. So does anybody have any questions for our web developers? You can unmute yourself and ask them now. Thank you.
I have a question, because can I be heard? Is everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So welcome. I'm sorry I was late. You know, that's how Friday mornings go. I have a desire to potentially develop a real estate specific website that features a particular property and leasing opportunities within it. So I guess, could you just speak to your experience specifically developing a real estate, template, whether it's a WordPress template or whatever, and have you integrated with LoopNet or any of the other sort of online real estate marketplaces, so that I can kind of funnel my lead development through one of those dedicated sources?
Good question, Doug. Great name, by the way. Have never met a Doug I didn't like. So let's start there.
Well, you haven't met my cousin Doug. No, I'm kidding.
We haven't particularly built any websites for larger real estate companies. We have built websites for Airbnb properties primarily, who they want to have a little bit better of a personal presence than what is offered on the Airbnb platform. But the booking for those things have all synced back to the recognized, and I would recommend that anyway, is to stay, in terms of a booking mechanism, stay with something that's tried and true and people understand it and are comfortable using it. So the ones we've built have all been people who own second homes or they own rental properties, and they just want a little bit more of a presence that is able to illustrate the character of their property than what you have on the templated platform of like an Airbnb or any other of those VRBOs.
Gotcha. So a follow up on that is, do you do the photography for that yourself, or do you have someone that's a third party that does that?
The short answer is yes. It depends on what the client needs. We have done photography for those properties. Yep. But we've also had photographs given to us to put into them. And a lot of the times we do recommend that you do have photography captured for your specific purpose. There's a lot to do with branding when it comes to websites, not just in the graphics that you create digitally in terms of art, but when it comes to photography, the look and feel of a website is 100% owned by the photography that's on it. So the photography you take has to match the digital platform that you build, and they complement each other in that way, where it'll be stronger if you capture pictures to fit your space.
Thank you so much, Doug. Tiffany, do you want to speak to that?
Hi, Doug. So I specifically haven't built a website for real estate yet, but this is kind of how you become the master of things. Someone comes to you with their idea and you say, yep, okay, I'm going to learn all about that and help you out. So kind of like Doug said, as far as bookings go, you definitely want to, if you want to tie things back into, what people are familiar with using. So, lots of times clients come to you and they say, oh, have you used LoopNet or something else? And it's really just a matter of, me getting familiar with what is that, and is there, something comparable to that, which might be an alternative solution, or maybe that is the best thing out there. And then I would just look at, helping you integrate that. I personally build all of my websites using WordPress, and WordPress can pretty much integrate, with any kind of third-party platform, plugin, you name it. So it's definitely something that we could look into. As far as the photography, I used to provide photography, but I don't do that anymore. I just decided that I wanted to be not just a jack of all trades, but at least a master of something. So building the website itself is really what I specialize in. And I help my clients to, get the right photos and get the right kind of content. I do write content, but as far as, providing photography and stuff, I would just work with you and say, okay, these are the kind of photos we're looking for, size, definition, etc. And then pretty much present you with, here's your website and your layout. And then we kind of go from there as to, what else we need.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Appreciate that. Nicole?
I built one real estate website. So I'm from Maine originally, and I moved to the North Country about a year and a half ago. So the listing, what I will say is, as you get quotes, you're gonna like have some sticker shock, and this is why. At least with the Maine listing service, and I bet New York is similar. When you think about like listing a property, you know how you have like 500 fields of information that you enter into the MLS? Well, what we have to do as web developers is we have to pick which fields pull in and how they pull in. So basically we're like customizing a database. So typically I have to hire a database programmer to do that. It's hilarious because people are like, what, you can't? I'm like, listen, that would be like if you asked me to like build the car, fix the car, drive the race car, and clean the car. Like these are just different skills. So my database programmer, who I call Database Jeremy, because his name is Jeremy and I have multiple Jeremys in my life, so I just call him Database Jeremy. He charges $200 an hour. So honestly, I would not touch a real estate website for less than 20 grand because it is such a pain in the butt to integrate. Because like I said, you have to pull those fields. And then what we did with, we also as web developers have to pay to access the data feed. So please appreciate this. To pay this bill for the main listing system, I have to log into Internet Explorer to pay the bill. So just to let you know, I mean, maybe this has changed in the last 4 years, but and I have to pay $500 just to access the data feed. I can't even look at what the data feed looks like. I have to pay to access it. And then I have to pay $100 a quarter to continue accessing it. And I have to log into Internet. So I have to like fire up my like dinosaur PC and like find Internet Explorer to go pay my bill. So, so if you start getting quotes from web developers and you want to die, that's why. It's because it totally stinks. But once it's set up, your web developer, and like I said, if you want to talk to me, that's fine. But like, it's going to be a lot of money because I know how much work it is. So I'm sorry you're getting to me now. When I look back, it was like, I think I made like 25 cents an hour on this stupid website. Let's just say that. But they're going to want to, like I said, so you're going to want to keep that in mind. It's you're paying to like basically access the data feed. And what we did is we made it so that it pulled from the MLS every 2 hours. So if you changed the price, it would change it on the website. And this was a time saver for them. And obviously most real estate companies also do the rentals. And like Tiffany and Doug said, you know, a lot of people kind of use third-party systems. And I know that some of them, if you like wanted to not worry about booking something on Airbnb while you book something like on your live site, there are things that integrate the calendar so that won't happen. You know, if you have instant booking turned on, but you're going to pay some kind of monthly access fee for those. And yeah, so I'm just kind of warning you that while there's money to be had in real estate, holy cow, the tech of it is kind of a pain. So as you get quotes, I just don't want you to have sticker shock. So that's just a little insight. And like I said, you're going to have to think about like what fields are important to me, because nobody wants to look at 500 data fields displaying on a website. So like in Maine, obviously we had like waterfront property was like a field that was like important to people, and square footage and how many bathrooms. But I know there are certain things, I remember there were certain things on there. I was like, really? You have to record that? And as a real estate person, you're like nodding your head but as a web person, I had no idea. So anyway, I'm sorry if I killed any dreams there, but that's
No, not at all. I hear you on that. This property does not require MLS, so there would be I think it would significantly simplify what you're talking about.
Fair enough. I was doing this for a real estate agency.
Right.
And the other thing too is if you want to look, and what Doug said about like branding stuff is really important. If you want to look at some really interesting branding guidelines, look at Sotheby's International Realty's branding guidelines. It's 150 pages, and they have everything from like how you write, like what words you're allowed to use to describe things, to like angles that pictures can be taken. Like you have to take trash cans out of the picture. Like it is like detailed. So if you ever want your own branding guidelines, check those out, because when I got those, I was like, whoa, this is.
That's good advice.
Thanks, Nicole. And Doug, do you mind if we take some other questions and we'll come back to you if we don't have any? Does somebody else have any other questions for our developers? And we'll go in reverse order again. So it'll be Nicole, Tiffany, and then Doug.
This is Julia. I've got a question.
Please go ahead.
Okay, we are a small full-service restaurant and an attached motel. We've not ever done what I would consider a quality website. We use Cake, which is the software that runs the restaurant. We don't have any software that runs the motel. And we need to join this Century and use Cake to do online ordering for the website and integrate our ability to book rooms with Airbnb and some top search engines, and wanted to know what experience people have with that kind of process.
So it sounds like you have half your problem solved, which is that you're going to use your existing POS system to also handle the online stuff. And it sounds like they offer that. Am I understanding that right? You say Cake has like an online ordering thing. Okay.
That's right.
And it's probably some kind of monthly fee or something like that, or
well, it's in part of whatever we already pay. We don't have to pay extra for it.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, use that obviously. And okay, so the hotel rooms. I mean, like I said, a lot of people that I work with coming from the Maine coast, mostly bed and breakfast is what I'm working with. They use like usually third-party booking stuff. I'm trying to think, ResNexus and Webbervations. They basically all look kind of like, if you go to a bunch of them in a row, they all kind of look very similar.
Right.
But what you know, and you can attach like your reservation system to your existing website. I think most people use those kind of systems because setting up your own custom is, I don't know, kind of a pain, and these other people have already done it. So right. It sounds like what I tell people is, if you're looking at third-party solutions, you want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples, right? If you're just going to like, what you're going to look for, if you're, let's say I don't even know if anybody really uses ResNexus anymore. Some of these businesses are like, no, we picked this 20 years ago and we're good. But let's just use it, like you're saying that you're evaluating Webbervations, and yeah, let's just say ResNexus, because I can't think of another one right now. What you want to do is you want to find like, just to make the business decision, you want to find the features table of that software, and you want to look at what they're offering. So most every web software, they're going to have like 3 tiers, because that's what they do, right? Because they want to make the high tier look less, less ridiculous than so you want to look at the features table and say, okay, for example, you need this to integrate with Airbnb. Like, so does this reservation system integrate with Airbnb? Okay, this one does, this one doesn't. Okay. Or this one does at the second level and not at that first level. But you want to just make a list of what you need to have, and you're like, this thing needs to integrate with Airbnb. And then maybe nice to have, I'd like to, I don't know, trying to think. I'd like to be able to offer like additional like add-ons or something, where someone would check a box and there would be like a little welcome champagne or something. I don't know what you would call that, but so like you make a list of what you need to have and then what you'd like to have. And then when you're looking at those features tables, like you can actually look for it and be like, okay, let's just say you use Constant Contact for your email marketing. And you're like, I want everybody who makes a reservation to be automatically added to my email list, right? So I need something that integrates with Constant Contact. So you can look for that. So that's what I tell people is, if you know what you're looking for, you're much more likely to find it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my thing, and I'm gonna stop talking now.
And when a website is built, is it sort of automatically thought about from an SEO point of view? Is that built into the way you design the website?
I mean, it should be. A good web developer will think of that
Okay.
and do things that make sense to that. And you could ask them some questions about that and get an idea of their knowledge. But I think Tiffany can really speak to that. I know she's an SEO lady.
Thanks.
Hi. So like Nicole said, basically, if you're already using Cake, that sounds like something that you could definitely integrate, using WordPress. But as far as like through Airbnb and wanting to, with like a booking system, like personally, I have an Airbnb, and we also use booking.com, and I built us a website because I wanted to have more control over the experience and I wanted to show up in a more specific market. So that's where the SEO comes in. I wanted my own website to target for these specific areas. But what we found was it became kind of annoying with our calendars, like syncing everything up. And so what we ended up doing was just embedding. We decided, well, Airbnb is the primary place where we get booked a lot. So on the website, I actually just embedded our Airbnb listing. And I still have links to booking.com, and you can link to all these different platforms, but I didn't even bother to go through and create my own booking system because it's, like, why reinvent the wheel? Now there is, of course, Airbnb and booking.com, they take a percentage. So you lose a little bit, there's a fee there for using their service and their platform. But for me personally, and this is just from, I just have a single unit home. It just wasn't, the cost wasn't really worth it for me to build my own system. Now for you, depending on how big, your motel is, that might be the case. But it is, it is just a more substantial cost to integrate your own system on your website. So, depending on what your budget is, you can look at, just embedding, like I said, or just adding links, and then really focus on the SEO of your website and still showcasing your property and your motel and combining that with the restaurant. And yeah, when you build a website, you really should be building it with SEO in mind. So, every step of the process that I do through Komodo Media is everything gets optimized. Every image, every piece of text, every component that there is, right down to, how your pages show up when you share them on social media. Every single aspect is built with SEO in mind, depending on who's your audience, what are they searching for, and where are they searching. So that is definitely, having your own website and pulling in those orders and those bookings is great, but how customized you really need to make it, I think you could use Cake and maybe just do some embedding instead.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Doug, do you have some things you'd like to add to this conversation or things that you've done in the past similar?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Julia.
Julia, thank you for being here and for tuning in. The Nicole and Tiffany's answers were good. Is there anything that they didn't speak to that I could give you more context on?
Who writes text and who does pictures? I heard Tiffany say that she can write text, but she prefers to outsource it or have the other person do it. Because what I'm trying to figure out is how much do we have to do versus how much can we hire it done, and what's the trade-off for paying for it versus trying to do it ourselves.
Yeah, the important part when it comes to text is it's completely related to your search engine optimization. So your text in a quality website that is well thought out and well planned, the text is written with keywords in mind to integrate with internet search engines. So if you're a restaurant property and a motel, you want a lot of words in your text that are related to people searching for those topics. And you want to make those words consistent throughout your pages. It is also super important when it comes to websites that your user experience is consistent from page to page. So a lot of times, small businesses, this happens quite a bit, where they have one person working on the website for a couple of months and that person moves on, and then somebody else comes in and takes over the website, that person moves on. And by the time you get to a couple of years down the line, every page reads differently and there's no consistency between the text. So the user kind of gets lost as they move through it. And you want a well-written and well-crafted website has well-written text with the search engine words written in, but it also carries the user from page to page. For your goal, obviously looking at your booking property, you want them instantly to be able to go to your homepage and say, I like this place, I want to look at a room, and I want to book that room. 3 steps, as quick as you can possibly get the person there. Okay. And the words that you write and images that are accompanying those words 100% illustrate the person's ability to do that fast, because they need to feel comfortable instantly, and words and photographs do that.
Thank you so much, Doug. So we're just going to move on to a next question now, so we make sure that we get time for everyone. And I'm sorry to have to be the gavel this morning. But I think Tony Searing has a question that he'd like to share. And this time, so Tiffany will answer first, Nicole second, and Doug, or I guess Tiffany, Doug, and then Nicole. That seems fair.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Good. I'm Tony with the SBDC over in the Plattsburgh area, SUNY Canton. And I'm going to throw out 3 questions or so you can just answer them quick because I know time is short. But I'm dealing with all kinds of clients, and I'm going to speak to the sit-down restaurants, high clients. Obviously, they're starting to put tables out, but what happens in the fall? So they need to start preparing for being reduced to 50% or so. But a lot of them aren't used to setting up takeout, all those kind of things, pickups, other orders. So if you can speak to that. The other one is virtual fitness, hobby training, those kind of things, tying in Zoom meetings with YouTube and those kind of things. There's a lot of people now that do one-on-one, or before had people come to their place. Now they have to do the training or whatever over the internet. And the last one is qualified employees. A lot of them, there's a lot of employees now out there, but not necessarily qualified for a lot of things like construction and such, and they're really having a hard time finding them. So if you can just speak to any of those 3, any of you, just eat fast, don't chew. I know we don't have a lot of time.
Okay, as far as the restaurants go, I mean, I think there's a lot of different solutions to suit, their comfort level, as much as, just building the website and putting the menu online so people can call and place orders, or making it so that the orders just come through as an email or come through on your phone. There's all kinds of different ways to do that. I think it's just finding a solution that is, comfortable to their skill set. And I don't know, since we're short on time, if Doug and Nicole want to jump in on the other things, so I'm not speaking to all 3, or how we want to do that.
Keep going, you're doing fine.
I think the next one you talked about was incorporating Zoom and fitness and things like that with videos. And I've already been working with some clients on incorporating more videos into their websites, which really isn't a big deal because you should always be using a third party to upload your videos to the web anyway. So it's really just a matter of helping clients, getting them to create that content, and putting it on the web is really, I mean, it's pretty easy. And I think the last one you talked about was
employees, attracting qualified employees, even if it's within the Adirondacks or from New York City or whatever. People want to get out of the cities now. So
as far as just promoting on your website to
right,
say,
getting people come to the website, show them what you are better than I used to be a recruiter, so I'm looking for something better than say Indeed or Headhunters or something to attract employees for people.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's just a matter of doing your search engine optimization, and depending on what your business is, and having that, jobs posted page ready to go, and having all the right keywords so that you're showing up. And Google Business would also be a great tool to bring into that, and just posting, updates through there. So there's a lot of different tools, utilizing social media. There's lots of different avenues online aside from just the web development.
Okay, and I take it all of you can help us with that, right? Or help my clients with that? I don't see all the head shaking, so okay. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.
I hand out with my clients.
Okay, thank you so much. Doug or Nicole, do you have anything to add to that quickly before Tony, do you have to jump on or can we stay for maybe just a few more minutes?
I'll stay on for a few more minutes. I
Okay.
got another 10 minutes, I think.
I'd like to add just one general thing, and it kind of fits your questions, Tony, across the board. When you're looking at a digital space, the most important thing to recognize is what does the user need to do, right? As it relates to the restaurant scenario that we're talking about, right now, the user who's looking to go to a restaurant, they need to know what the protocol at the restaurant is, and they need to know the menu as fast as they can. And so the restaurants who are adapting well have changed their website to give you those two things right on the main page. Here's our COVID protocol, and here's our menu, and here's how you get the food. So, but that's across the board for any business right now. As I referenced the Bookstore Plus earlier, you know, their need changed from telling their story of their store and why you should buy from an independent bookseller to here's the books because people are ready to buy them. Before they needed to know more about the place before they were ready to buy. So it just really depends on what your business is and finding about what those trends are that people are what they need to do when they go to your page. And if it's recruiting or what have you, it just really depends on the message you're trying to deliver.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, fire from me. All right, so takeout. I will say that most POS systems in restaurants are trying to remain relevant in this new economy. So a lot of them have been scrambling to add some kind of online component to ordering. What if for some reason that solution doesn't work? There are things like, for example, if you offer delivery but only want to offer delivery in a certain area, you can do constrictions like a certain mile radius for delivery and things like that. So those solutions are customizable. So it's not like, you know, if someone ordered from Rochester or something and you were like, oh crap, we got a delivery 3.5 hours away. No thanks. So those systems do have stuff like that. The second thing about events, I just went through this super intense virtual event training for the last month. And basically my summary of that is when you think about an event, rather than thinking about taking the event and doing it like you would do in real life, you want to say like, instead of what are we doing, say, why are we doing it? So for example, a lot of conferences now, the reason that they're crammed into 2 days is because people have to like fly there and get a hotel and all that, right? But there's no reason now, if it's virtual, why there can't be an hour a week of this conference going on for a period of time. Or there's like, you know, so there's basically like rethinking how the event is instead of just taking it and saying we're going to do the same thing over Zoom. Taking it and rethinking about it is a really good idea. And then once the event happens, you know, having like, if you want an online course or something, using what's called a learning management system so people can, you know, pay to access your course or conference and things like that. You know, learning management systems now are pretty widely available and oftentimes pretty inexpensive. So it can be nice for people to do events because it's a way for them to get to know you, which is why I'm really glad ANCA is hosting this event today. It's nice to like, you know, meet people in real life. And so having events is continuing to be important. And finally, qualified things. I'm in the process right now of hiring an admin. And one of my friends told me that she used this thing called Jazz HR. I'm not endorsing this. I just signed up yesterday. And what it does is it posts it a lot of places and it has a free 21-day trial. I'm not sure why 21 days, but here we are. And I've gotten 16 applications so far. But what's nice about the qualification part is I can customize that process. So let's say that someone has to submit, I can make it so someone has to submit a cover letter. And if they don't submit the cover letter, Jazz HR will send an email and say, hey, you didn't submit a cover letter. And so my friend who was hiring for her company, she had 50 applications and half of them didn't do the required things. So she was able to just be like, okay, like they can't even follow basic directions. All right. And then she was able to kind of see everything. So there was like, you can add some kind of qualifying steps there. And it's a little bit more of an automated process than maybe something that you're handling over email. So I'm just trying it out myself, but like it could be, there's solutions like that to look into. And a lot of them, most software has at least a 2-week free trial from what I can see. So it might be worth looking into things like that. It posts them multiple places. So yeah, that's all I got.
I'm sorry, I'll have to listen to the recording for the last minute or so. My internet crashed and I just got back.
Oh no, that's okay. That's why we record. All right. Well, thank you everyone for your great questions. Thank you for joining us, web developers, for your insight. As I mentioned before, these certainly are not all of the North Country web developers we have available. Please check out the resources we have online to be able to access some of the other folks that might be available in your area, or find out if there's anything else you might want to know. But thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. We really appreciate you being here. And we're going to close it up now, but I do want to throw out one quick plug. If you are a business owner, or if you are a business owner working with, or if you're a web developer working with multiple businesses, ANCA is also currently doing a Rad Dad contest for Father's Day. So if you are a business owner and want to talk to a business owner friend in your neighborhood to put together a package for Father's Day, we'll be promoting those throughout the region and offering a $100 prize for the most creative Father's Day package put together. So just an opportunity for folks to think about how to get people to their website, improve their e-commerce and traffic to their websites for before that day, and test out some of their new e-commerce functionality. So if you want to enter that, please let us know, but we would love to see your entries as well. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend and happy Friday. Bye. Thank you.